Good morning, students. Today we're going to be starting chapter 4. I'm going to be doing lesson 4.1 right now. Okay, it starts on page 248 in your book, so you may want to get it and open it up. All right, today we're going to be learning about graphing two quantities. So, what do I mean by two quantities? So, any two things that are held together in a relationship, like, for example, miles per hour. One of the things we're talking about is miles, the other one is hours. So those are quantities. Those are basically just things that are being measured by numbers. Okay? Now, when you use a graph, you can show the relationship between any two quantities. Okay? Now, when I say a graph, I'm just going to be super simple for this lesson, and we'll go into more detail in the next two lessons. But anyways, one of your values is going to represent one of your items. In this case, the value here that is going up and down is going to represent miles. Okay. The other value is going to represent hours. Now, on this particular chart, let's go ahead and read the chart and see if we can figure out what's going on. So a person at the beginning of the graph here, and remember, we're graphing two different quantities, one that's horizontal and one that's vertical. So you can see a steady rise in speed up until about 55 miles per hour. Then the person's going. Then there's a steady drop in speed to 0. And then another rise in speed to 55. Okay. Now, this may not be the most accurate chart, but the idea is there's a person that's driving a car. He's getting up to speed slowly. Perhaps he's driving on a back road or a mountain road till he gets to the highway, and then he goes at a consistent speed for a long time, actually for a couple of hours. Looks like he has to slow down fairly quickly, probably going to like another mountain road. He stops. Maybe he had to get gasoline, or if he had an electric car, he could charge it, or maybe he just wanted to stop and get something to eat. Then the speed goes back up, and then he gets back on the highway again. Okay? So mainly with this lesson, it's not so much that you're going to be doing any like serious graphing. Basically what you're going to be doing is just looking at different relationships and sort of trying to get an idea of what those would look like. I'm going to go ahead and put my book here under the screen. Okay. Now, says here the graphs below relate the height of water to the volume of water in each container. Which graph goes with the container? Now take a look at this one. So we have volume, which is how much water is in the container. We have height, which is how tall the container is. This one, when the water pours in, it fills up quickly, and then the height tapers off. This one, the volume and the height go at a pretty constant rate, but it doesn't go very high. This one, it goes at a constant rate, but the water volume actually goes up very high. Now, if you look at the different containers, let's take a look. The first container is wide but small, or short, I should say. So let's take a look at it. Which one do you think it would go to? Yep, that's right. It's going to go to the center one. Because when you fill up the water's not going to go very high, but you can fill up a lot of water because, as you can see, it's wide. The second container goes very tall, but it's also very skinny. Okay, kind of like a basketball player. Which one does that go to? Yep, you figured it out. It goes to the last one. So take a look. The height of it goes up quickly, but the overall volume doesn't go up very much. In other words, where your arrow ends up, does not correlate to the very far over part. It just goes up to a certain amount, meaning that it goes up very high, but it's also very skinny. And obviously that would mean that the first one here represents the last one. Let's take a look at it instead of just like, oh good, the last one must be this. So the water goes up slowly, and then all of a sudden, actually it goes up quickly because it's narrow here. Then it goes up a little bit more slowly when it gets to the wider spot. So the rate of the water changes because the shape changes. So the water goes up quick, then it goes up slowly because this gets wider, so it takes longer to fill up the top part. Okay. Now, here's some key phrases to learn. Rise, speed up or increase, which means that the line or curve that goes up from left to right. Fall down, fall, slow down, or decrease, the line or curve that goes down from left to right. Constant means that the line is horizontal, going like that. Sudden decrease would make a vertical line going down like that. Okay, let's look at a couple more sample graphs and then we'll finish this lesson. In problem 1 on page 249, says the graph shows the volume of air in a balloon as you blow it up until it pops. What are the variables? Describe how the variables relate at the various points. Now, as you can see, volume would be going up, and in this case, the balloon goes up, flat, up, flat, up, flat, up, and then down really fast. Now, if you look at it, the person blows in, stops to take a breath, blows in, stops to take a breath, blows in, stops to take a breath, starts blowing, and the balloon pops, and all the air comes out. Okay? Now, for some reason in my book, these words are messed up. I hate it when that happens. But the idea is the upper value here shows the volume or how much air is in the balloon. The horizontal line shows how much time it takes. Now, it didn't give a specific unit of time. It could just be like a few seconds or whatever. But just the idea is we're comparing the volume to the time. Okay? Now, what are the variables in each graph? Now, let's take a look at this one describing board length. Okay? Now, what do they mean by board length? So someone has like a wooden board, like they're going to be making something with it, and then they're cutting it, okay? So we have length and time. So probably what happens is, let's say the board is 6 feet long, so that would be right here. And then someone saws, cuts a section off, and that section falls. And then the board is now 4 feet long. And then someone cuts again, and then the section falls off. And now the board is 2 feet long, and they cut again, and then the section falls off. And then it stays constant, meaning that they're done cutting. Now in this case, because when you cut a board, you cut for a long time with a saw. I mean, unless you have one of those electric saws, but you cut for a long time, and then the piece falls off abruptly, and then so the length of the board is now shorter. June cell phone cost. Okay, so we have minutes of calls compared to the cost. Okay, so the idea is, let's say in June, you're using your cell phone, and then all of a sudden, somewhere in the middle of the month, the cost goes up. And figure it's June right now, and a lot of people are on their cell phones because they're not doing anything else. Usually what that means is you have a cell phone plan that says you can talk for so many minutes, or you can, be on your screen time for so many minutes, but then after a certain point, the price goes up, okay? So hope you can see this. Please read through the lesson, pages 248 and the following pages. It'll help you. Like I said, it's not a difficult lesson, but it's more of a visual lesson, so I want you to really look at it and get this down. Hey, well, thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed this particular lesson. Bye-bye.